Weird things happen all the time, and our software development interview is not an exception. So in this particular video, I am going to talk about 5 weird reasons to fail a software interview. Sounds interesting, I bet it is. But before I go ahead, let me tell you that these reasons are not in order of priority. And let me confess one thing. I have experienced all these 5 reasons in my career, and I was rejected for all these reasons. Okay, so I have first-hand experience in these weird reasons, what I'm gonna tell you now. So let's go ahead and start. Weird reason number 1, you know more than one programming language. You will say, what? Knowing more than one programming language is a great achievement. Yes, it is. But when you go for an interview, and let's say you are going for a Java interview or C++ interview, the person taking the interview thinks that he or she need to ask questions related to that programming language only, and any other language is of no use to the organization, and it doesn't contribute to your capability as a programmer. And these are some general assumptions the person make while taking an interview. Now, because of this, what happens that just like a natural person knowing more than one language, like somebody knows English, Spanish, French, German, Hindi, they tend to mismatch something like, while speaking one language using words of another language unintentionally, it happens, right? But that doesn't mean you don't know that language. But what happens with the tech interviews that people are extremely picky on any mistakes you do in the language you have been asked questions on, right? Today there are many languages where there is no requirement to put a semicolon. JavaScript you can skip. Go, there is no semicolon. Python, there is no semicolon. But if you are giving a Java or C++ interview, and if you miss the semicolon, just see the behavior of the person. If they don't find anything, they find semicolon, and they will say that this line is incorrect. So when you know more than one programming language, you will end up mixing and matching things, and you may end up giving an impression that you are not having good command in the language for which you are giving the interview, and then the results, right? So if you know more than one programming language, based on my own experience, what I will suggest is that concentrate on the language for which you are going for an interview. Revise that language for 4 to 5 days prior to going for an interview. Otherwise you are going to end up mixing and matching things. Okay, and at the same time, request to the people taking the interview, try to consider this fact that people knowing more than one language is an achievement, and it will help your organization or your team. Okay, weird reason number 2, data structures and algorithms. You will be thinking, what? So in here, the knowledge of data structures and algorithms doesn't matter, right? Now, no matter which organization you are working right now, you know all the data structures, all the algorithms, and you know where to use quick sort, where to use merge sort. You know what is meant by red black tree, what is meant by binary search tree, what is meant by balanced trees. But you might end up using the APIs provided by all the language, all the libraries today, right? Today you are not going to write those algorithms if someone asks you to do that. Now in today's world, in many interviews, people ask someone to write data structures or algorithm in C language then and there itself. Now, no matter how good you are in data structures or algorithm, you cannot remember the code. Okay, even if you try to remember it, you will forget it after some time. So you know how quicksort works, but if somebody asks you to write the same code in C language or any other language then and there itself in 5 to 10 minutes, if you are not used to that, it will be very difficult for you to write that algorithm. And even if you write that, there will be some corner cases, some conditions where it will not work, and you will be trapped in there. Now I want people to learn and understand data structures and algorithm, but more than mugging up the code, how the quicksort code looks like or merge sort code looks like, They must understand the algorithm, and what is the biggest capability one can bring in with their knowledge of data structures and algorithm? The capability of selecting a data structure or algorithm based on the problem statement, not how you can write the code for that. But again, that's not the way software development interview works, and people fail on that. Weird region number 3, mathematics and analytical reasoning. You must be wondering that what is the relationship of mathematics and analytical reasoning with programming? Well, there are lots of websites floating around where you can generate programming questions and send to the potential candidates. Many companies use those websites. Look at the questions there. They are more about mathematics and analytical reasoning than about programming. And even if there are some programming questions, I myself have seen some programming questions which can only be solved by using a least used API. Okay. So I'm not saying that mathematics and analytical reasoning doesn't matter in your day-to-day programming. It does. But the kind of questions these websites ask people to solve, someone needs to prepare for that, similar to the way someone prepares for SAT, GATE, something like that. They prepare their questions in such a way, and that's also a weird reason because of which you fail your software development interview, despite being the fact that you are a very good programmer. Weird reason number 4, and this is really weird. There are thousands of tricky questions floating around the internet, like how you can identify a buffer as a circular buffer, what is the best way to insert data in the middle of the linked list, and something similar. I know you got a gist of it, and there are some well-known answers to it. But if you come up with an answer which is more smarter than the existing well-known answer, well, if the person taking the interview doesn't understand that answer and thinks that this answer is wrong, you are in trouble, right? Now, in programming, there are hundreds of ways via which you can achieve one thing. Today, some X thing is considered as smart. Tomorrow, somebody can create some Y algorithm which is more smarter than the X one. But if it is not widespread, then people are not gonna listen to your algorithm, write the code and verify the correctness. They will reject you, and that's the weird reason. Weird reason number 5. If you are considered as someone who can change the status quo, thereby threatening the existing ecosystem. This is not a normal thing, but not an aberration. I have seen people being rejected because they are perceived to be more smarter and intelligent, and also someone who, if comes, can change the existing setup, existing ecosystem, existing hierarchy of power. Then you might be rejected for that reason also. Unless and until your interviews are taken by someone in the leadership layer, right? Otherwise, in the peer level, you will be rejected for that. Again, this is not a normal thing. I don't know if this is a normal thing, but in my personal opinion, something like this also happens. This is the world, much bigger and much wider and much better, as well as much worse than what we see through our eyes. So those were the 5 weird reasons to fail your software interview. Let me know if there is any other weird reason you have come across because of which you fail your software interview. Thank you everyone. Thanks for watching. We will meet again. Until the next time we meet, good day, goodbye. You take care.